Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ode to the Stars and to the Moon, a stargazing and moon-gazing activity brought to you by the European Union delegation to the Philippines in collaboration with the Manila Street Astronomers and the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. I'm Heidi de Maisip, your guide to outer space for tonight. Did you know that this year we're celebrating the 70th anniversary of the European Union? Yes. The EU was established on May 9, 1950. And if you are familiar with the EU flag, it has 12 yellow stars on a blue background, which signify peace and solidarity among the EU's 27 member states. Tonight, we're going on an astronomical adventure from the safety of our homes, discovering the wonders of planets and stars in our vast universe. Amidst these trying times, it's a small comfort that we can look to the sky and know that the stars continue to light up our world. So put on your spacesuits and fasten your seatbelts because we are about to take off. But first, I want to acknowledge the presence of our honored guests for tonight. We have here with us Mr. Thomas Biersing, Chargé d'Affaires of the EU delegation to the Philippines, Undersecretary Renato Solidum of the Department of Science and Technology, Disaster Risk Reduction and Climate Change, and DOST's Assistant Secretary for International Cooperation, Ms. Leia Buendia. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we'd also like to acknowledge Manila for Kids, our media partner for this event. Thank you also to the following publications: ABS-CBN News, Manila Bulletin, Business Mirror, Manila Standard, The Manila Times, Business World, and Philippine News Agency. Thank you also to artplus.ph, Eagle News, the Philbiz News, Lemon Green Tea, Agimat, Biahilo, Melo Villarreal of Out of Town Blog, and Robert Requintina of Pop News Philippines. So kids, we highly encourage you to have your comments, leave your comments on the Facebook comment section of your screens right now. Comment your reactions and questions on the live feed as you watch the presentations so that our special guests can respond to them later on during our live panel Q&A. And to officially kick off our Out of This World journey, I'd like to call on the EU Delegation's Program Manager for Environment and Climate Change and enthusiastic amateur astronomer and astrophotographer, Giovanni Ceritella, to show us a fascinating astronomy software simulation.
On behalf of the EU delegation to the Philippines, I welcome you to this first virtual stargazing event, which is part of the VIVA EUROPA 2020 cultural initiative. It's the first virtual stargazing ever, I think, because under the circumstances, we cannot have this in the open air like last year. So we had to be creative, and we tried to make the most of it with what we have in our homes and in our places. So I would like to say, first of all, that this event is inspired from the ongoing dialogue with the government of the Philippines on the Copernicus program, which is the European Union Earth Observation program that looks at how satellite technology from space can help better understand the natural environment and issues linked to to things like climate change and marine pollution and disaster management and other issues which are relevant to the Philippines. I have here my telescope, which I will briefly illustrate to you. This is a computerized telescope which is composed of several elements. As you can see here, there are lots of boxes and cables. This bigger scope here is mainly for planetary and lunar, meaning moon imaging and visual observation. This one, smaller one on the top, is a refractoscope which is used mainly for dim objects like galaxies and nebulae. The telescope is operated by a computer, by a laptop, but it can be quite handy to have this gadget in the field, which is a portable planetarium that controls the scope. I can enter, for example, here the name of an object that I want to take a photo of, and then what I will do, I will press a button, and the telescope, as you can see, will go and look for that particular object automatically. So it's very useful to have this kind of equipment, because when you're out there, you're not very sure how to exactly center the object in the field of view of the scope. Therefore, this actually will help you to do that. I will come back to you in a short while with a short presentation. I want to show you some slides. I hope you will enjoy the event, and thank you very much for your participation.
This is the Sentinel-1 satellite, which is part of the Copernicus system. It's a satellite that allows to see through clouds, as it's using a radar sensor. This is space technology looking down on our planet. But in astronomy, we use space technology sometimes to look up into the sky, and this is the Hubble Space Telescope that allows to study the universe to an unprecedented level of detail. Sometimes with more modest instruments we can still appreciate astronomy. This is my personal observatory in Italy, which allow me to take some interesting pictures that I will show you in a minute. This is the Copernicus impact crater on the moon. It's a large crater created by a meteorite, and it's interesting that it's named Copernicus, since we are also celebrating this technology here today. This is a planet Saturn, the planet with the rings. Everybody knows this. This one is the M13 globular cluster in Hercules, in the constellation of Hercules, 330,000 stars. This is the Orion Nebula, which is a star nursery where stars are being born. This is an open cluster of stars, of young stars, very young stars. You can see this still the gas around the forming stars is called M45. This is our twin sister galaxy, Andromeda Galaxy, 200 billion stars. So astronomy is a science that tries to answer some fundamental questions like, how old is the universe? Did the universe have a beginning? And is there life on the universe? These are fundamental questions that we all aim to answer. I thank you very much for your attention. I have a little surprise for you now. Just bear with me for a second. Thank you.
Hello again. Well, this is the moon as seen from my apartment. I'm using my phone attached to the telescope, and this is the as seen from behind the windows, because I don't have a balcony. So this is quite a nice image of the moon if you consider we are indoor, and I want to share this with you later. So it's the 1st of June now. It's maybe 12:20, 12:25, 12:30 at night, and I have applied the phone directly to the eyepiece of the telescope. So this is quite a nice view. I will take a picture, and I will ask the organizer if we can circulate this picture with you later. So this shows you that even in lockdown, you can enjoy a little bit of astronomy from inside your home. Enjoy the beautiful view of the moon, and I hope you will enjoy the rest of the evening. Good night.
Hi, and this is Professor Jun Kahigang. Welcome to this virtual online astronomy event. I would like to personally thank the European Union for organizing this activity. Let us remember that modern astronomy started in Europe with the likes of Nicholas Copernicus, Tycho Brahe, Johannes Kepler, Galileo, and Isaac Newton. So we are here and we have this telescope already set up and we will be observing the moon. So come on, let's observe the moon. The moon is really a fascinating object to study through a telescope. The moon has an average distance from the Earth of about 384,000 kilometers. And with that distance, 30 Earths can fit in that distance between the moon and the Earth. So that's quite really far. In fact, the Apollo spacecraft took about 3 to 4 days just to reach the moon. And with that distance of 384,000 kilometers, all of the planets can fit between that distance from the Earth and the moon, and there is still 4,392 kilometers to spare. So that's how far the moon is from the Earth. So isn't that amazing? And also the moon orbits the Earth in an elliptical path. It's not a perfect circle, but it's an elliptical orbit. So there are times wherein the moon is really close to the Earth. So that's what we call the lunar perigee. And there are times when the moon is farthest from the Earth. That's what we call the lunar apogee. And when the moon is in its perigee, the moon is closer to the Earth and the moon looks slightly larger. And when that happens, there's an event that we call a supermoon event. So during a supermoon event, the moon appears to be slightly larger because the moon is closer to the Earth. Alright? And you will notice that the surface of the moon is scarred by millions of impact craters. So the most obvious ones is the Tycho crater or the Copernicus crater. And most of these craters were caused by asteroids, comets, and meteorite impacts. Okay? There is no atmosphere on the moon to help protect it from bombardment from asteroids or meteors. So they don't burn up, unlike here on Earth, because the moon has no atmosphere. And since the moon has no atmosphere, on the surface of the moon, the sky always appears dark, even on the bright side of the moon. And since there is no atmosphere, sound waves cannot travel through the moon. So the moon is silent. There can be no sound transmission on the moon. And without an atmosphere, there is no erosion. There's no wind, there's no precipitation, and there's very little geologic activity to wear away all of those craters. So they remain unchanged until a new impact changes it. Okay? So, and through a telescope, you can see dark patches and white areas. Those dark patches are the lunar plains, and the bright areas are lunar highlands and impact craters. Okay, so I hope you have learned something about our moon. Check out our Facebook page, Manila City Astronomers and the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. So again, this is Professor Cahigal. Again, thank you, European Union, and stay safe.
Good day, my name is Dudes Perea. I've been doing stargazing and telescope viewings for quite some time now, and I'm here to share with you some tips on how to look up at the night sky. And for my tips, always remember to look. Lights off. An ideal place for stargazing would be in places with little to no light pollution. If you can, find spots near your area that are not in city areas for the best experience. If at home, close all nearby light sources to help you with your viewing. Observe the constellations. Stars are clustered in the sky, some of which resemble patterns called constellations. For starters, it's nice to recognize some of them when you look up. Orion and Ursa Major are some pretty easy constellations to recognize. Try and spot them for yourself the next time you go outside at night. Open your star chart apps. We all get by with a little help from our digital friends. Star chart apps helps us in getting used to viewing the night sky. Some good apps that you can download on your phone are Sky Map and Stellarium. It's easy to use for beginners and experts alike. And lastly, keep on looking up. Personally, it took me quite some time to adapt myself in this experience. So I kept going back at it, involving myself with multiple telescope viewings and meeting various people who share a common interest. Never stop looking up. Eventually, you'll get the hang of it. And if I may add, this activity has been a hobby for me. I've met many amazing people and learned a lot more about astronomy. And I hope you may find this as a hobby of your own as well. Carl Sagan once said that astronomy is a humbling and a character-building experience. And with that, I couldn't agree more. Thank you for your time, and remember to keep looking up. May clear skies be with us all.
We hope you've been leaving your comments on our Facebook Live. Now's the time to type in those questions because it's time for our first panel Q&A. So let's welcome back the EU delegation's Giovanni Ceretella. Please say hello to our viewers, Sir Giovanni. There he is, he's waving. Wave back, guys. And also, here with us for this part of our program are our special guests. We have here with us tonight Mr. Thomas Wersing, Chargé d'Affaires of the EU delegation to the Philippines. We also have Undersecretary Renato Solidum of the Department of Science and Technology, and Assistant Secretary Leia Buendia, also from the Department of Science and technology. And here are the other members of our panel. We have the Manila Street Astronomers Professor June Cahigal. He is a teacher at Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila and an astronomy and earth science teacher at San Beda College, Mendiola, Manila. He also founded the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. Big smile, Professor June, and wave hello to our viewers.
Hello.
There he is. Also with us tonight is Dudes Perea of the Manila Street Astronomers South Area. He is a science teacher at San Beda College, Alabang, and the founder of the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers, Alabang. And also with us tonight is Dylan Encinares, a grade 12 Humanities and Social Sciences student from San Beda University. All right. Wave hello, our dear panel members. All right. The audience are waving back. I can see a lot of happy smiles and hearts din po sa ating chat box ngayon sa Facebook Live. Now, for our first set of questions, the first one comes from a very enthusiastic and fascinated audience member, and this goes to Sir Giovanni. His question was directed from your presentation earlier. He would like to ask, was that view from your window alone, the view of the moon, was that really from your window? Can you please convince him?
Well, thank you for the question. I hope you can hear me. Yes, indeed, that view is from my living room here, from behind the window. I have no balcony, so that's why I said that was quite a lucky event to be able to record the moon from behind the window on that night. So that was a real live view from my telescope.
Wow. There you go. I hope that our viewer was really convinced by that answer. Now, a follow-up question to that, how do stargazing conditions differ from here and Italy? Is there a difference?
Yes, there are differences because Manila and my hometown in Italy are located at different latitudes, meaning that the angle of the North Star, which is a reference point for all astronomical observations, will be at a different height above the horizon. That means that different constellations will be visible at different times of the year. And that is the main difference, really. Then, of course, there are differences in terms of air quality and sky quality, because in Manila, of course, because of the light pollution, we are a little bit limited. But I'm lucky to live in the countryside in Italy where I have beautiful dark skies, and therefore the view is much more conducive to good photographs. Yes.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir Giovanni. And now, our second question goes to Dylan, our grade 12 student. Hello, Dylan.
Hello, ma'am.
And the question is, how about you as a young enthusiast? They want to know what began your fascination about astronomy. A lot of our viewers are just like you, a high school student.
Yes. I started out as a grade 1 student back then, and I'm already fascinated by the heat and temperatures, different suns, different planets, and even different moons, including like Soviets and the big series. And I'm also interested in like different information and details in regarding to studies in astronomy, and that really fascinated me since I was young. And ever since that, in grade 12, for the first time, I became the president of this organization, and I'm really thankful for Sir Cahigal and San Beda University for that.
All right. Thank you so much, Dylan. Wow. We have a very curious and fascinated audience tonight. The questions keep on coming in. Now, this one, I guess you can see if any one of you can answer this. I think all of you can. What telescope is recommended for beginners? Who would like to answer first?
Probably I can for the equipment part. Okay, so for starter scopes, probably you can start with a good binoculars. Yeah, a binocular telescope has a wide field of view, and that can be a good starter scope. Then after probably 1 or 2 years of using the binoculars, then you can shift to probably a good reflecting telescope with a 4-inch mirror. Price probably that's about 6,000 pesos if it is second hand. Yeah, if it is a brand new telescope, that's probably about 15 to 20,000 pesos. So if you really want to engage yourself with this hobby or interest in astronomy, then you need to invest on good equipment. You can start with binoculars. And probably you might ask, saan ba ako makakabili ng telescope? There's a very good telescope shop called Cutting. There's one branch there at the SM South Mall. And I think there's also another branch of Cutting Edge at Shangri-La. You can check out their stores and look for a very good binoculars or probably starter reflecting telescope. Probably dudes can make a follow-up on my answer.
Oh, thank you for those tips, Professor June. Any one of you would like to add more to that? What's a good starter kit for a telescope? Anyone from our panel would like to suggest more? All right, okay. So, yes, Sir Giovanni, would you like to add to that?
Not really. I think Professor June already explained very well. But the available instruments nowadays it's so big and so wide that really there is an option for everyone that wants to start astronomy. So there is really an incredible variety of instruments available on the market.
All right, thank you for that, sir. Now, here's another question for you. What constellations are visible right now?
Okay, in order to do that, I would like to share my screen, the screen of my laptop. I hope you can see it, because what I'm going to do, I will. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is a very nice little software called Stellarium that allows to see what night objects are visible in any part of the world. So this is the sky in Manila as we see it. Is a virtual representation of the night sky. I will take out now the labels and the lines of the constellation, and I'm moving around from east, northeast, north. Okay, and then I will now enable the constellation lines and the constellation labels. So you can see that this is the Ursa Minor, which allows us to use it as a reference, because this star here is called Polaris. This is the North Pole. This is the North Celestial Pole. So this is an important reference point. We can see definitely from Manila Ursa Major. We can see the Dragon. This is the Dragon constellation. Then we have Ursa Major, which is this constellation here. This one here. It's a bit difficult to imagine where the ancient astronomers got the name from. So, with a little help of a little thing here, we can, for example, look at constellation art. For example, let's see if I press this. See constellation art. So we see the Ursa Major, which is the big bear, is seen as upside down from Manila. This is the head of the bear, and this is the constellation lines. This is the Ursa Minor, which is the small bear. Now moving to other parts of the sky, we see that we have, for example, the constellation of Cancer here. We have Leo. The Leo is of course the lion, and if we enable the art, you can see the lion here. Yeah. So You can see lion, and so on. And you can see several interesting constellations. So I would stop here because I don't want to take too much time from other colleagues.
That is so amazing. Thank you so much, Sir Giovanni. Oh, wow. Now, I'm sure a lot of our viewers were just awestruck by that presentation. As a follow-up to that, some of our viewers are asking, are there any planetariums that they can go visit in Manila? They would like to go tomorrow, right away. Sir Dudes or Professor June, Dylan, maybe have some tips for our viewers. Where can they go to?
Maybe there's.
I think there's. You go.
Dylan, you have some tips?
Well, the original Manila Planetarium, which is located in Manila, and the other one, which is the UP Observatory in Diliman. Those are the viable options for now.
All right. Thank you very much, Dylan. Now, Sir Dudes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I have your question.
Yes, I can hear you.
I know that you can answer it perfectly. I heard that there was a lunar eclipse. Was it early this morning? And I'm sure all of you
Yeah, it was early
and
this
some of our
morning.
viewers also knew about this, about the lunar eclipse. Can you please explain for our young viewers here what occurs during a lunar eclipse? How do we safely view both lunar and solar eclipses from our homes?
So for the eclipse, as you can see, the eclipse that happened in about 1 in the morning just today is what we call a lunar eclipse. Well, not just any lunar eclipse, it's called a penumbral lunar eclipse. So in order to understand why does it have the word penumbral, we need to understand how an eclipse works. So basically, whenever it may be solar eclipse or maybe lunar eclipse, you have to remember that the basic thing that you need to know is that the shadow of the middle body in whatever type of eclipse it is the one that dictates what type of eclipse there is going to be. So, for example, in the lunar eclipse, we have three types. We have a total lunar eclipse, a partial lunar eclipse, and then what happened just today is a penumbral lunar eclipse. So, what we have to remember is that in a total lunar eclipse, the shadow of the Earth, so basically like the sun, the sun, the Earth, the moon, and then it's at night, and then we can see the shadow of the Earth cast on the moon. For a total solar eclipse, you have to remember that the umbra, we call it the umbra, the very darker shadow of the moon, of the Earth rather, is seen in the surface of the moon, causing it to at least turn a little bit dark, or in most cases, it turns reddish. That's where the very iconic blood moon comes from. So whenever the darkening of the moon and then suddenly it becomes reddish, that's where it comes from during a total lunar eclipse. In a partial lunar eclipse, it's kind of the same thing with the total lunar eclipse, except this time, as the word suggests, it's partial. Only part of the umbra actually just covers the moon. Actually, when you look at it, it looks like a cookie. It's like you took a bite out of a cookie, and then there's a little bit reddish marks on the surface of the moon. And then what happened just today was what we call a penumbral eclipse, which is affected by what we call a penumbra. A penumbra, unlike the umbra, isn't really dark. It's a lesser, darker shadow of the Earth, so to speak. So in a penumbral solar eclipse, so those who view the penumbral solar eclipse just this morning, if you notice that there isn't really much change in the shadow of the shading rather of the moon, it's because it really affects it just a little bit. Not too noticeably, but in practice and due time, you'll see that there is a bit of a difference. For solar eclipses, that's a different kind of case because solar eclipses have a special type of equipment that you need to have. I've heard that you can use a welder's glass, but if for more technical terms, you can use what we call a solar filter. I have it here. So a solar filter, this one's pretty small. It's 13 millimeters. I have one that's about roughly 40 to 60 millimeters. You can buy that online if you want. A solar filter is good for attaching in a binoculars or maybe in a telescope. And the reason why we need this is because, as we've learned in the basic school, that you should not look at the sun. It's a bad idea to look at the sun.
Yes.
So looking at the sun would hurt your eyes. Trust me on this. Do not look at the sun. So you need to have eye protection in the form of solar filter. So
you can grab a solar filter in most online shops right now. So what a solar filter does is that it allows you to look at the sun without damaging your eyes. And at the same time, it kind of clears away also the other features that you can see in the sky. So it's a good way to have a solar filter. You just focus on the one that has the largest light source. And now we have 3 types of solar eclipses, which I think one will be on June 21. Mark your calendars, guys. So on June 21, if I may
21.
to be a partial solar eclipse that will be happening here in the Philippines. So a partial solar eclipse is a partial solar eclipse. The shadow of the moon barely covers the entirety of the moon. So as opposed to the total solar eclipse, which covers the sun entirely and forms what we call the corona. Okay? Not be confused by other solar corona. And the last type of eclipse will be the annular eclipse. I think we just had one a few months ago. It was an annular solar eclipse. The difference of the annular from the total solar eclipse is that the moon's a little bit farther away, and instead of the corona glaring at you, you get to see a bit of a circular ring, what we call solar eclipse. I would have covered all about the eclipses, and I hope you are well educated on that now.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Dul. That was very extensive and substantive. All right, don't forget, guys, if you are going to view the partial solar eclipse, am I correct, Sir Dudes? On June 21?
Yes, on
That is
June
correct.
21.
So go now and buy your solar filters online. All right, buy it online, be safe. All right. Okay. And by the way, going back to the penumbral eclipse that we just had earlier this morning, we will be showing a video of that taken by Professor June. And we encourage everyone to stay till the end so that you can see that special preview. But for now, we'd like to thank our panelists for our first live Q&A. They're going to be staying because we will have our second set of Q&A later on during the program. Thank you very much once again, Sir Giovanni Saritella, Dylan, and Sinaris. Thank you very much, Professor June Cahigal. Thank you. And Sir Dulce, thank you very much. Now, before we continue our presentations on the planets, let's take a short break and listen to a lovely rendition of French composer Hubert Giraud's Under Paris Skies, or Sous le ciel de Paris, by Martin Macalintal, audiovisual attaché of the Embassy of France.
As we all know that Mars is the second smallest planet in the solar system. Now, are you ready to explore?
Mars is a cold desert world, sometimes called the Red Planet. It's red because of the rusty iron in the ground. It is a terrestrial planet. It is small and have a rocky surface. This dynamic planet has 4 seasons. We have the polar ice caps, weather, canyon, and extinct volcanoes. First one is the rocky surface on Mars. Dust that covers the surface is fine like talcum powder. Beneath the layer of the dust, the Martian crust consists mostly of volcanic basalt rock. It is where we can witness the sand surfing in this area. Second one is the Grand Canyon, covering nearly 1/5 circumference of Mars. The canyon system Valles Marineris reigns as the largest canyon system on the Red Planet, or the largest canyon in the solar system. It is where we can play sports like volleyball, basketball, dodgeball, and many other more. Third one is the Olympus Mons. This volcano is bigger than Mount Everest due to past lava flows make super fertile patches of land. It makes the volcano bigger and bigger. You can enjoy the public jacuzzi while looking at the nice view volcano beside you. Fourth one is the biggest crater in Mars, Hellas Planitia. This crater is a plain located within the huge, roughly circular impact basin, Hellas, located in the southern hemisphere of the planet Mars. It is the 3rd or 4th largest impact crater and largest visible impact crater known in the solar system. This place is where we can park the rocket ships. Fifth one is the ice polar. This planet has a north and south pole. Mars polar cups are a combination of water ice and carbon dioxide ice. The astronomers can have an ice skating with their family and friends. Would you like that? It's fun, right? If you were given a chance to travel the red planet, which is Mars, what is the first thing you wanted to do?
So I have to prepare first for the long journey to the red planet. So it will take 7 months for a manned trip to Mars. 7 months. So that's quite long. So I have to prepare physically, I have to be fit, and I have to prepare psychologically for the long trip to Mars. I need to bring enough food, enough water. I need to recycle my urine. I need to recycle my carbon dioxide. Everything in the spacecraft must be recycled because the trip will take 7 months. Okay, and when I reach Mars, I must first establish my habitat. There should be a habitat that must be in place so that when I arrive on Mars, I have a habitat to stay, complete with food, with oxygen, with water. And if when I have established a permanent habitat on Mars, the first thing that I will do is to visit those places like Valles Marineris, Olympus Mons. I would like to visit Hellas Planitia. Okay, and I would like to make bricks on Mars. Bricks so that I could make a habitat made of Mars soil, Mars bricks. And I would like to do some botany on the planet Mars. So, a Mars colony must be self-sustaining. You cannot depend on mission control for help. So, everything must be made directly on Mars. Your food, your oxygen must be made on the planet Mars.
You've just heard and saw the places to visit on this planet.
Isn't it amazing?
Isn't it fascinating?
Isn't it mind-blowing?
Alright, so isn't that jaw-dropping? Isn't that amazing?
Now, let me ask you this. Are you ready to go to Mars?
Though we might not notice it, this place has many things to offer. At this point, we are about to give you a tour in this planet that also breathes life on its own. For you to visualize what this planet offers, now it's time for us to take you to Saturn.
This is Saturn, the second largest planet in the solar system. It is about 10 times as wide as Earth.
A perfect place to take your whole family, set of friends, and even your tribe to a picnic or a getaway, as space is not limited.
The planet's unique feature, its rings. They are made out of ice and rocky remnants, but this won't stop us from letting you all enjoy it as an infinity slide. But remember to pack and wear your helmets while doing so. Saturn has more than 50 confirmed moons. Pack your binoculars and channel your inner selenophile through experiencing our moon sighting activities.
Gold! Who doesn't love gold? In this planet, golden clouds swirl around, which is perfect for your Instagram pictures. Tons of your followers will surely heart your post.
So what are you waiting for? Pack your bags and fly to Saturn to experience the most amazing, out-of-the-world activities you never thought you can.
T-minus 40 seconds. Everything looks good for launch.
Welcome to Saturn, the most photogenic of all time and the second largest planet in our solar system. If you were to take a picture in this wonderful planet and its surroundings, well, let me tell you this, sweet adventurers, it's worth dying for.
Saturn is the most phenomenologically rich planetary system that we have in our solar system. Because of its rings, tons of moons, magnetosphere, it has it all. If you wanted to ask fundamental questions about the solar system in general, Saturn would be the place you would go.
It's quite noisy. Well, it's because of the tourist benefits. Yes, benefits. You will learn and discover a lot of things here. That's why a lot of people go here often. Let me ask you this question. Why do you need to go and visit this wonderful planet? Well, let me ask my co-adventurers, Sophia and Joshua.
Thank you, Erica, and welcome to Saturn. What are the things that you would need to go here in Saturn?
Well, you see, you can go to Saturn itself due to its surface. Like the other gas giants in its classifications, it's a gas planet. Hence, its surface is mostly liquid and its atmosphere are gases that ranges from hydrogen, helium, methane, and ammonia. But what we're really offering is go to the moon of Saturn.
What you will need is oxygen tanks and masks because there's no oxygen there. Food, of course, your hygiene essentials, a spacecraft ticket of the Millennium Eagle in order to go to the moons of Saturn. Because it's the only spaceship that can go toe-to-toe with the speed of Saturn's rotation, and the most needed object is your camera.
largest planet in the solar system, but like its gas giant neighbor, Jupiter, it's a drop of show over substance. There's nothing much to Saturn, but if you were to go there, you will have a lifetime supply of pictures for your Instagram. From the different looks of each 50 or more moons in the background of your pictures, which are the rings of Jupiter and Jupiter itself, you will gain tons of followers automatically.
You see, it's very hard to imagine anything more beautiful than the rings of Saturn. Up close, this glittering disk shines with the brilliance of trillions of ice fragments.
We have activities that will send your astronaut brain into orbit. These activities will allow you to be within the rings of Saturn and take one of the ring particles for you to bring home.
Hello, good evening. This is Astronomy at Home. I am June Cahigal. So today is June 5 at around 11:30 p.m. and we are observing an almost full moon. Well, in a few minutes, it will be a full moon officially. Okay. And also, in a few hours from now, we will be observing what we call a penumbral lunar eclipse. So, what do we mean by a penumbral lunar eclipse? So, later, the moon will pass through the penumbral shadow of the Earth. So, when you say penumbral shadow, that's the lighter shadow that is cast upon by the Earth, and the moon will later pass through that penumbral shadow. So what do we expect in a penumbral lunar eclipse? So we will see, or we will expect a slight dimming of the moon. So there will be a slight dimming of the moon later at around 2:30, 3 o'clock at its maximum. Okay, so later, we will be observing the moon again, early morning of June 6, and let's see the difference in terms of the moon's brightness. A penumbral lunar eclipse is not really spectacular as compared to a partial or a total lunar eclipse. Okay, so before anything else, let's increase the magnification of our camera. By the way, we are using a cell phone camera. The cell phone is attached to this reflecting telescope. And we are viewing the moon live. Wow! Isn't that fantastic? Look at the moon. The moon looks like a big cookie. Wow. Really, it looks like a big cookie. Okay, so let's increase the magnification and let's view some of the details of our moon. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, so we can see here some details of the moon. Right, so the moon has dark areas. Those dark areas or dark patches are lunar plains. Okay, so at the center of our field of view, we have the Sea of Tranquility. Okay, and that's where the Apollo 11 landed. Okay, then, alright, fantastic. Okay, then these bright areas of the moon are mountains and cratered areas of the moon. You can see that big crater at the center, that's a Tycho crater, created by meteor impacts. Alright, and we have here the Copernicus crater at the center, also created by a meteor impact. Wow, amazing. Increase the magnification. You can see the Tycho crater. Wow, really is amazing. Wow, I can even sing a song. I was walking in the moon one day. Gusto kong pumunta sa buwan. I was walking in the moon one day. Gusto kong pumunta sa buwan. Wow, amazing. Okay, so let's put the moon back to its regular size. Whoa, whoa, fantastic. That's our moon. And in a few hours, we will be comparing the brightness of the moon. So, it's about 11:35 p.m. And we will be observing the moon later at around 2:30 or 3 o'clock. And let's see the difference in brightness. Because later, the moon will be witnessing a penumbral lunar eclipse. The early morning of June 6. Okay, so this is June Kahigal signing off temporarily, but we will be back at around 2:30 or 3 o'clock. Okay, so we have clear skies and thank you for watching. Hello, good morning once again. This is Astronomy at Home. I'm June Kahigal and we are now observing the full moon. But this is special because we are witnessing a penumbral lunar eclipse. Okay, the eclipse started at around 1 a.m. and right now it's 3:30. We are now at the peak of the eclipse. Now, a penumbral lunar eclipse occurs when the moon passes through the Earth's penumbral shadow. So, what do we expect? So, we expect a slight dimming of the moon. And look at the image seen through the telescope. So, there is really a slight dimming near that area where the Tycho crater is located. So, you really need to have a sharp eye on this. It is really difficult to observe a penumbral lunar eclipse as compared to a total or a partial lunar eclipse. Okay. So, there you have it. Let's magnify the image. Alright. Okay, so there is a decrease in brightness of the moon. Okay, a penumbral lunar eclipse really is difficult to observe. You really need a keen eye to observe that decrease in brightness. Okay, let's return the moon to its normal size. Okay. Alright. So there you have it. Okay. So that's our penumbral lunar eclipse. Okay, so yeah, there is a decrease in brightness. Okay. Alright. So we are now at the peak of the eclipse. Alright, so there are no clouds and you can see the darker region near the north part of the moon. Okay, and also that area near the Tycho crater. So there's really a decrease in brightness in those areas. Alright, fantastic. Okay, so I guess that's all for today. Check out our Facebook page, Bedan Society of Young Astronomers, and also our Facebook page, the Manila Street Astronomers. Alright, amazing our moon. Okay, so this is June Kahiga, Astronomy at Home. Clear skies to everybody and stay safe.
Wow, that was an amazing journey to the planets, plus a bonus penumbral eclipse video from Professor June Cahigal. Come on, clap your hands, everybody. I am so happily overwhelmed by the influx of questions from our audience. I don't know which question to ask first, but this one has a sense of urgency to it. So I'm going to ask it first, all right? And I think I'm going to direct the question to Professor June. All right. The question is, does Mars have water?
Okay. Now, as we all know, the United States and even the European Space Agency had sent robotic probes on the planet Mars. And these robotic probes, they are capable of digging into the Martian soil. And true enough, they discovered water ice. Really liquid water, but water ice. So, that indication probably that if there is water, then there might be bacterial life. But again, we still need more confirmation from those robotic probes. So, we're still searching for bacterial life on the red planet. But there is water, ice, solid ice, not water.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sir June, for clarifying that and answering that
If I may
question.
add something?
Oh, yes, Sir Dudes.
If I
Go
may
ahead.
add something, I think I also recall that the atmospheric pressure of Mars plays a role. I can't recall the exact number or the exact atmospheric pressure of Mars, but I think it also contributes in such a way that water there can really be in a large mass. I think the atmospheric pressure that Mars has, it actually affects how water appears in the planet. So whenever it's not in sunlight, it's usually frozen solid, and in most cases, when it's being shown by the sunlight, it does melt, and sorry, it does sublimate rather, turn into water vapor.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Dudes. Yes, sir? Yes, go ahead.
Mars, a polar ice cap. Yeah, I remembered. And the polar ice cap of Mars is made up of solid water, which solid carbon dioxide, and there is some amount of water, solid ice. So,
wow. I heard that one first right here. from you. Thank you very much. All right, next question. I think that Sir Giovanni can answer this well. Our audience would like to ask, can we see the event of Betelgeuse from here? And has it ever undergone a supernova explosion? Sir Giovanni?
Yes, thank you for the question. It's a bit of a difficult question to answer, but we can see if Betelgeuse explodes and it becomes a supernova. The issue is that this will not happen for the next 100,000 years. And Betelgeuse is a large star in the constellation of Orion that is very far from us. It's located at about 642 light years, which is a 6 followed by 15 kilometers. So it's 6,000 million kilometers from here. So it's so far that even the light from Betelgeuse will take 642 years to reach us. So if tonight Betelgeuse explodes in a supernova, we would see it 642 years from now.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I don't know how to respond to that, but thank you. Thank you very much, Sir Giovanni, for answering that question. Indeed, it was very challenging to answer, but you did it. Thank you very much. Next one. One of our audience members is asking, is there an app to view the Milky Way in real time? Anyone would like to answer? Is there an app to view the Milky Way in real time?
For that, I think I can supplement a little bit on this one, because I did mention this in the video that I shared with the live stream. In terms of all of the Milky Way, it's a bit tricky because we still have to remember we're part of the Milky Way. We can't really go outside of our galaxy, look at the Milky Way in its entirety and take a look at it. However, parts of our Milky Way galaxy, mostly the stars that we can see in the night sky, they're usually, most of them are part of, actually I think all of them are part of the Milky Way galaxy. They are all part of it, and technically when you look up in the night sky, you are already viewing the Milky Way. So for the app, I usually use this free app in Android called SkyMap. It lets me see the entirety of the night sky, assuming you have the right GPS coordinate and the right positioning. And then you can use this app for, I can't really show it much on screen, but I can't really show it much on screen. But this app, if you put it outside or even just inside your house, you can use it and then you can aim it up. You can see right now that there is, I think that's, what is that? Boots. The Boots constellation is above me right now. And if I go over here in the eastern part, I can see that the moon is about to rise. So in viewing the entirety of the Milky Way, just look up. And for the app, SkyMap is a free one that you can see on Google Play Store.
Thank you for those tips, Sir Dudes. Thank you very much. All right, next question. Are there any resource materials like books or videos that you can suggest as a jumping off point for astronomy lessons for young children? We have very young children as audience members right now, and they're very curious to know that. Dylan, would you like to suggest any resources that you've used when you were starting?
Basically, I use these universal atlases at the library, much like in my old school and here in San Beda. I also use frequently the relevant apps in my phone, like the Sky Map, and also in the laptop. But that's all I use.
Thank you so much for that, Dylan. Now, here's another challenging question. All right, is there a planet like our own planet Earth? Anyone? I can see Sir Giovanni smiling. Would you like to answer, Sir Giovanni? Would you like to try?
Yes. Okay. The answer to that is that we cannot be 100% sure, but because the universe is so vast, if you think that in our Milky Way galaxy there are 200 billion stars, and there are billions, hundreds of billions of galaxies in the universe, and many of those stars have planets. The statistical probability that there is a planet like Earth is almost a certainty. So I'm quite sure that there is a planet, actually more than one, like Earth. And so far, many planets have been discovered, about 4,000 planets around other stars. But because they're very far and it's very difficult to determine the atmospheric composition and the chemical makeup of their atmosphere, so it's very hard to say at this stage if another planet Earth exists and where. But we have a strong evidence that mathematically another planet Earth must exist somewhere in the universe.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sir Giovanni. And I'm sure that our audience member who asked that question was pretty satisfied with that response. Thank you so much. Now, moving on to another topic on telescopes, all right? How do you keep the sights focused? This is a very technical question. For the viewer, the moon keeps on moving from their scope. Sabi po ng ating audience member. So, for telescopes, how do you keep the sights focused? Anyone?
Okay, so yeah, if your telescope is manually operated, like in the case of my telescope, I usually adjust the ascension knob. In a telescope, there is what we call a right ascension knob, and if your telescope is polar aligned, adjust that, and you can follow the movement. Now remember, it is the Earth that is moving. The Earth is rotating, so the telescope needs to follow that using the right ascension knob. But Sir Giovanni, if you will look at the back of Sir Giovanni, he has a very good telescope over there, and probably he can explain that telescope because his telescope is quite awesome because that telescope is computerized. So Sir Giovanni, now give the floor to you and explain to us your awesome device.
Thank you, Prof. Yes, in fact, this telescope has a computer that allows the telescope to follow the apparent movement of the stars in the sky. The stars, the sun, everybody knows that they appear to rise in the east and set in the west, but that's because the Earth is rotating. So this telescope has a system that mimics the movement of the Earth in the opposite direction, meaning that it can keep the star in the same position for a long period of time, and therefore the star will not move out of the eyepiece of the telescope. But you need this type of device, you need this computerized mechanism that allows to follow the apparent movement of the star in the sky.
All right, thank you so much. Now you had a bonus demo of Sir Giovanni's telescope, high-tech computerized telescope. Thank you very much, sir. Now, let's take a breather from the technical questions, our dear panel. Here's a fun question for everybody. If you could space travel, where would you want to go first and why? Who would like to answer that question first? Sir Giovanni, would you like?
Yes, I would like to go to two places. The nearest place I would like to visit is the satellite of Jupiter named Europa, which is also a good name for our event. And the reason for that is because Europa is completely covered with ice. And there are some theories that are now being tried to be developed that say that beneath this ice covered of the planet there may be an ocean, a water ocean, and water is an essential element for life. So it is possible that at this very moment, under the surface, the icy surface of Europa, there is an ocean and there is life. So that would be an interesting place to go. But if I could travel further, I would like to go to a recent planetary system that was discovered a couple of years ago called TRAPPIST-1. And this is much, much further than Europa. It's about 300,000 light years from us. That means that if you could travel at the speed of light, it will take us 300,000 years to arrive there. But the reason for going there is because some of the planets in the system are most likely very similar to Earth, and they are in the same, what we call habitable zone. So they are not too far and not too near their star. And therefore life could be possible on some of these planets.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sir Giovanni. All right, next to answer that, if you could try space travel, where would you want to go and why? Sir June, Professor June.
All right. So first, I will travel to the USS Enterprise. Yes, and then to boldly go where no man has gone before. I would like to go to the planet Mars. Yes, because Mars, based from studies made by robotic probes, the terrain of Mars is very similar to Earth, and probably if the Earth is polluted, or if the Earth in the future can be uninhabitable, then probably we can go to Mars to colonize the planet. We can start our civilization there. So that's the next thing after the moon. Okay, the next thing to visit is the planet Mars.
All right, thank you very much, Professor June. Now, Sir Deuce, it's your turn.
I think I also agree with Sir Giovanni. I really, really want to go to one of the Jovian moons, most especially Europa, because to paraphrase another astronomer, I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson who did say this. It's just fascinating to think that a distant body of this body, more so far away from the Goldilocks zone, has the capacity to have water inside it because of the tidal pull of Jupiter. And again, to paraphrase what he said in one discussion, it's just the fascination of going there right now, punching a hole in the ice, making a big hole over there, get a fishing rod and start fishing. I guess it would be quite the experience when something does bite. And yeah, it's the satisfaction of trying to see whether life could appear in something that we seems impossible, but is actually very, very probable.
All right, thank you very much. I can feel your enthusiasm and excitement as you share that dream. Thank you, Sir Deuce. Now, Dylan, it's your turn to answer the question. If you could space travel, where would you go and why?
Well, if I could space travel in the most possible way, I like to go to the place that's not yet discovered or still not uncommon. Probably outside of the Milky Way, and probably somewhere in the ATOM galaxy, far away from here, the biggest galaxy in the known mankind. I'm not really that much of a person who goes to the known planets kasi may probability may plans na iba tao dun. So for me, basically as a young person, I want to go somewhere that's undiscovered yet.
Thank you very much, Dylan, for sharing that. Now, Aisen, let's wave hello to Aisen. All right, why do we sleep when the moon is out? Why do we sleep when the moon is out?
When the moon is out. Evolution?
All right. Here's the question is, why do we sleep when the moon is out?
If I may answer, I think
Sir
it's
Giovanni,
more
would you like to answer our 3-year-old's question? The question is, why do we sleep when the moon is out?
If I may answer that, I think it's really more on the okay, I can't hear the last part. Anyway, I think it's really more on the evolution of us as a species.
we are when we were here a few thousand years ago, we usually were day hunters, if I'm not mistaken. So it's more of how we behaved back then, and it's just
Yes,
something
I think
that
so too. And I'm sure that Aisen, if you're still here with us. All right, thank you very
that's like
much.
I mean that's like the thing about astronomy. Even back then, it still had its uses. I'm pretty sure people in the olden times probably used the moon to signify it's probably time to sleep. So that's one of the earliest applications of astronomy, if I may add.
That is correct. That is true. All right. Thank you very much, Sir Dudes, for answering those questions.
Okay, so one of the other questions here that was listed. Let me see if I can see the other one. Yeah, there's also another interesting question here. What happens inside a black hole? So there's a question that we can answer. What happens inside a black hole? I do have a good idea of what that is, but let's see if Sir Jude, Sir Giovanni, and Sir Dylan can answer that.
Mm, okay. What's the question? I'm sorry.
What happens inside a black hole? I have a good idea on what happens, but I want to see if you have something to share.
Okay, so probably can I answer first? Okay, so basically, a black hole is the result of the end of the life cycle of a very massive star. So, when a very massive star had consumed its hydrogen fuel, and it collapses to form a black hole. Now, inside the black hole, there's too much gravitational force that even light itself cannot escape. So,
Yes.
because of that, there's gravitational and light cannot escape. So, it seems dark. Kaya nga black hole ang tawag dyan. And also because of the intense gravitational pull, according to the theory of relativity of Albert Einstein, time also is affected. So if you approach a black hole, then time slows down until when you enter a black hole, time stops. So anyway, Albert Einstein explicitly explained to his theory of relativity what happens inside the black hole. Probably Sir Dudes can make a follow up on that.
If I can follow up on that, if we're gonna be technical about this on what really happens inside a black hole. Okay, so when we are technically inside the black hole, on what happens there, the thing is, not a lot of people really know because for one, there's no light that's going to exit from the inside of the black hole since of course it sucks all of the light in. So that's a big problem. A part of what we do as science relies on things that we can see, or at least things that we can detect with our eyes. And the thing is, it's hard to know what happens inside when there's no light that's coming back to us. And probably another thing that would theoretically happen, since we know that the black hole is a very strong gravitational entity, is that this thing that when an entity or a body crosses the event horizon and is slowly being sucked by the black hole, the bits and pieces of every single molecule of that body, whether it be a human body or maybe a planet,
gets stretched all in a very, very straight line instantaneously, almost instantaneously, in what is called spaghettification. And yes, that's a real word, spaghettification. It's where the thing turns into like a spaghetti, and then it goes inside the black hole. And from there, we do not know what happens to the information. Maybe it goes to another universe. Maybe it stays there. As long as we don't have any means to actually look at the black hole, we don't know really what happens inside it. But I'm pretty sure that the matter inside there stays there. Any more? How about you, Sir Giovanni? Do you have anything to add?
No, I think you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Good.
That's it? All right, so I'd like to thank once again Sir Dudes for that very expert response. I know it's a very challenging question. Our viewers are so intelligent. They don't ask easy questions, right? Do you agree? All right, and since Yusik Solodum is joining us tonight also, we have a couple of questions for him to answer. Yusek? All right, here's a question for you, sir. I think that our viewers would love to know about the DOST's space-related projects. Can you please tell us more about these?
Yes. Good evening. Before I answer the question, let me congratulate the European delegation, the astronomers, both young and not so young. This event eclipsed my expectation, no pun intended, but essentially I learned many things and rekindled what I've been doing in the past when I was in the US, where I actually have studied and shown to my laboratory students the rocks, the composition of meteors coming from outer space and landing on Earth, and studying the different processes of the different planets. Well, with regards to the question, the Department of Science and Technology has really prepared many programs that would help the Philippine government advance our space technology application. As you know, we have flown microsatellites in the past many years, and would want to fly another satellite that would actually be useful to monitor the environment of the country and assist in the fast response after disasters and many other applications. We are also using space images to study the Earth. In fact, with the European delegation, we have crafted a program where we will be able to collaborate with the European space scientists to work on certain problems in the Philippines by scientists from the Department of Science and Technology and staff from other departments like the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Of course, we have an agency, PAGASA, which also handles astronomy, but I think this is not as much known compared to the work on climate and weather. But definitely, we are very encouraged by this initiative by the European delegation, and of course, the enthusiasm shown by our panelists and speakers, and of course, the students. I learned a lot again, and I enjoyed the beautiful pictures. Thank you very much.
All right, now, sir, another question. I hope you can still answer this one. Are there any ongoing and upcoming programs on space science, like EU collaborations that we have at the moment?
Yes, Giovanni might actually tell us more about it, but essentially what we're trying to do is we collaborate with other countries. We have collaborations with the JAXA as well, or Japanese. We have been doing that for many years, and many other countries. But the space program of the Department of Science and Technology will continue. And as you know, the Philippine government has established the Philippine Space Agency. And the head of that organization comes from an agency of DOST. So we hope that space program and application will really take off but UST will still partner and continue the research and development and assist and work with the Philippine Space Agency.
Very much, Yusek Salidung, for answering those questions and for joining us tonight. Maraming salamat po. And with that, shall be ending our panel discussion. Can we please give a show of hands and clap our hands for our panel members? Thank you very much for sharing your expertise. We learned a lot, and if only we could have more time, I'm sure they will still keep those questions coming in. But for now, it's our turn to ask the questions to our audience. All right? Are you up for a short pop quiz right now? Now it's our turn to ask you some questions, and of course, this will be a short quiz game. And for every game, there is a corresponding prize to the winners. All right, so if you're ready, type in those correct answers now on your chat box, everyone. First question, and I'm going to read it twice. All right, first question is, what shape is the moon's orbit around the Earth? All right, again, what shape is the moon's orbit around the Earth? Come on, answer now. You see those answers coming in already? What shape is the moon's orbit around the Earth? You know, I've learned a lot from this event, and I must admit I wasn't that good in all my science subjects while I was still in school, but I must admit that tonight's program really got my curiosity, sparked. I'm so blessed to have this expert panelists tonight. All right, here we have our winner. Yay, there is a winner. The correct answer is elliptical, and Lawrence Amistad got it correctly. Yay! Congratulations, Lawrence. All right, second question. All right, second question. Listen. Oh, no, not listen. Listen and look at your screens. How many seasons occur in Mars? Again, how many seasons occur in Mars? All right. Come on, everyone. Come on, everyone. How many seasons occur in Mars? There was a lot of Mars-related questions earlier, but now we're throwing them back to our audience. Let's see if any of them will get this correctly. Was this even mentioned among the presentations? All right, here we go. We have a winner. And what is the correct answer? The correct answer is 4. There are 4 seasons in Mars. And Maria Bona Suarez got the correct answer. Congratulations, Maria Bona Suarez. The correct answer is 4, Sir Dude. 4 seasons in March. All right, now let's go to the next question. All right, now there are 4 correct answers to this question, but to get it right, you only have to name one. Okay, you only have to name one. Name one of the gases that can be found in Saturn's atmosphere. Name one of the gases that can be found in Saturn's atmosphere. There are 4, but you should only name one. All right? That will be our last question for this short pop quiz. Come on, everybody. Think hard. Come on now. There are 4. There are 4 gases. Oh my. Okay, we have now a winner. Delerx Pingolurx. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, but I am just pronouncing it as I read it. Delerx, your answer is hydrogen. And that is correct, all right? It's one of the gases that can be found in Saturn's atmosphere, and the others are helium, methane, and ammonia. So congratulations! Come on, everybody, let's clap our hands. Thumbs up, everybody. Congratulations. Now, what do we do next? I'm so sad to say that we are about to end our program. Is it time to say goodbye already? Parang ayaw pa po ng mga panelists natin. Is it time to say goodbye already? We hope that everyone enjoyed, learned a lot, and just was able to take a breather from the pandemic, from this crisis, like we've mentioned in the introduction earlier, that to give us this comfort that even if we are stuck inside our homes, we just open our window, look beyond, look up, and there we are comforted by the beauty of the sky, of the stars, the moon. All right? So congratulations once again to all our winners for tonight's trivia quiz. We will be in touch with the winners, and we will have a separate post detailing of the mechanics for claiming of the prizes. So thank you everybody for participating, and also a great big thank you to our astronomy enthusiasts at home who joined us for tonight's virtual stargazing and moon gazing activity entitled Ode to the Stars and to the Moon, in collaboration with the Manila Street Astronomers and the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. Wasn't it so much fun learning about the planets in our solar system? Yes? It was a thumbs up.
Very awesome.
That you all had a spectacular time on this virtual expedition. So thank you once again to our honored guests, Thomas Viersing, Charge d'Affaires of the EU delegation to the Philippines, Undersecretary Renato Solidum of the DOST Disaster Risk Reduction and Climate Change, and DOST Assistant Secretary for International Cooperation, Ms. Leia Buendia. Also, thank you once again to our panelists, Mr. Giovanni Ceritella of the EU delegation, Professor June Cahigal of the Manila Street Astronomers, Mr. Dudes Perea of Manila Street Astronomers South Area, and of course, Mr. Dylan Encinares of San Beda University. Again, we'd also like to acknowledge Manila for Kids, our media partner for this event. We'd also like to acknowledge the following publications: ABS-CBN News, Manila Bulletin, Business Mirror, Manila Standard, The Manila Times, Business World, and the Philippine News Agency. Thank you also to artplus.ph, Eagle News, the Philbiz News, Lemon Green Tea, Agimat, Viajilo, Melo Villarreal of Out of Town Blog, and Robert Raquintina of Pop News Philippines. Plus, friends, please don't forget to like the EU in the Philippines Facebook page to see our other events for Viva Europa. And we're also inviting everyone to watch the ongoing EU Film Festival until June 18. That is happening until June 18. This is accessible online via Festival Scope. So good night, everybody. Good night. This has been your tour guide, Heidi De Maisip, signing off. Goodbye. Take care.
Bye. Cheers, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for a beautiful journey to the moon and stars.